everyone. Hoping you're safe from whichever part of the world that you are watching this video from. Ever since man took birth in this planet, he has been going through tough times for centuries and centuries together. Today, the tough times has assumed a larger than life proportion just because of the pandemic that we are going through, right? So how to handle this tough time is all the more relevant today. In spite of all the education that you have got, the trainings that we have got in our professional life, all of that have just got a few sprinkling of how to handle tough lives. But it has not been a major aspect of our learning. So today we are going to make an attempt. Okay, so uh, this is about me that I've just now discussed with you. Now we'll go through. So that's me, and I have two professional careers behind me, 2 decades plus in the armed forces in the regiment of artillery, and during which I had a tenure in the National Security Guards, the NSG is popularly known as a Black Cat Commando. I led a team there. And towards the end, I commanded a light regiment and before hanging up my uniform. In the corporate, yes, I did a course in Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and then thereafterwards I joined as a head of administration of a company in South India. Headed the HR Center of Excellence of a US-based software company, and then as a COO, Chief Operating Officer of a private-public partnership in Pondicherry, again in India. And thereafter, I did a tenure as head of HR of a software company. And currently, I am doing as a consultant, management consulting firm at Bangalore. Okay, so this is the contents that we are going to handle. The first is what are the factors that make tough times, and then the handling of tough times. How do we do that? And then we reach out, how you can reach out to me so that we can take this further. You could share your opinion, you could share your thoughts so that we are making our experience further richer. Okay. So in the factors that make tough times, right, it is important to realize that as long as there is life, there is tough time. Right from the time that we are born, in fact, the very act of giving birth itself is very traumatic, and your tough time actually starts from there. And then when you graduate and you finish your education, you go for pick up your job, you about 30-40 years of your life is there, and you have various periods of tough time on various instances of tough times that comes to you till the time that you are even retired. Even thereafter, there are tough times in terms of your health or things like that, or finances, or taking care of yourself. All this is part of your life. The only time that tough times don't matter would be when you are in the grave, or when you are cremated and you are up in smoke, and that is the time when you actually do not have any tough times to encounter. Okay, so as long as there is life, there will be periodic tough times. So tough times actually indicates that there is some life. Okay, looking at it that way. The next factor is all tough times are two important facets of tough time. One is it's always driven by either a situation or it is driven by a relationship. So it's dealing with people. So as when it comes to situation, it could be something which is external, that is which you have no control about, like for instance the pandemic. Then there are situations which perhaps would have been created by you. You have done a mistake, or you took a wrong decision for which there is a sequence of a tough time which is following. And as far as you're concerned, you're living in a society where you have to connect with people. You have a boss, you have your peers, you have your relationship with your neighbors, you have a boss to handle with at home, and it depends on the spouse, everything, a lot of things that is purely relationship. And that's why these are the two situations or facets that make up tough times. One is the situation and other is the relationships that you have. So both could come simultaneously or one after another. Okay. So what to do that is I have created a math of some tough times. some of us are more dominant left-brained. So for us, logic and analytics, we sense better through that medium of thought. So I thought I will put in a match, and this is entirely my doing, and it's not anywhere. You won't find this anywhere in the internet. So here is this math that I've thought of, where you have two variables, that is the S and the R. The S stands for the situation and the R stands for the relationship, right? And both of them put together would give you the intensity of tough times that you need to face, right? The coefficients, that is the 3 and 2, are the degree of the situations that is affecting you going through the tough time. For instance, if a situation would be, let's take for a student. For a student, he's just finished his MBA or he's finished his graduation, and there is no job because of the pandemic that we are facing through. And secondly, there's bills that you have to face, the EMIs that you need to pay for the loan that you've taken for financing your education. So that could be the second one. And the third thing is that you are not able to move to your place because you're stuck in pandemic lockdown. And so these are three situations that is facing you. That's why I put the coefficient of 3 there. And let's say at the same time, if you're an employee and you have, let's take for in case of R, if you're an employee and then you have an issue with the boss and it's affecting your work-life balance. So that is 2. And perhaps you're having an issue with your tenant or your landlord who is wanting to evict you because of the pandemic. So here you have a relationship which is with your landlord and your boss, both adding on to the intensity of your tough times. Okay, so these variables can vary. The situation and the relationship can be there, but the coefficients can vary, right? So that is what I meant by the maths of tough times. Then the tough times was also defined by your reaction. How do you react with it? There are people who actually thrive on tough times. They love challenges, and they're usually people who do extremely well, successful. Previously what you used to call the A-type kind of people. And then you have the people who simply, change. They're not just worried about the tough time. They add humor to it and make light of whatever tough times that they face to it, right? So in the armed forces too, we use humor to lighten the load of tough times that we face. And then some people are, they are amazed by it and they're awed by it. And then, of course, people are there because the tough times are so much, they just collapse, they just cry on their own. It hurts them very deep. And then, of course, people are there who may react with anger when the tough time comes. So it all depends on how you're reacting with it. And that increases or decreases the intensity of the tough times that you're going through. Feeding on negativity. Tough times just love negativity. The more negative that you are, the tough times are going to be longer for you or that much more intense for you. So therefore, don't go about complaining, it's not my job. There's very common ones that I'm hearing, which I'm just quoting now. I'm always unlucky. This company is a hellhole. I hate my boss. This place sucks. I mean, I wish I was in some other place. Anything, all this feeds on negativity. These tough times make it longer for you if you allow these feelings to keep praying in your mind. If you keep holding it in your mind time and again, you keep rolling in your mind, it only elongates the tough time that you're going through, right? It doesn't ease it, right? So it's very important that you don't give into negativity to allow tough times to dominate over you, right? A lot of people who complain, we have seen them, they do not realize it. We need to tell them that actually you are not only complaining and making a life miserable for yourself, but you're making it tough even for the others around you. So that needs to be cleared very fast, and that's why we have a lot of good people, the trainers and everybody telling us that you must keep negative people away. It's for this reason. And that's not fair, of course. That's one of those most famous ones which people say. The pandemic per se. The pandemic has created, it's an external factor, what we call as an act of God. That's what the insurance people would like to call it, right? This pandemic. Now, this is beyond your control. I mean, you didn't ask for it or you didn't even plan for it. And that's why it's come and hit you all over. And it has had some kinds or various degrees of tough times in each person's life. Everybody, every individual is affected by it. The kids, the families, the students, the factory workers, the entrepreneurs, everyone, the government, everyone is hit by it. And each has its own different dimension of a tough time, and they need to deal with it. And the best way to deal with that is to realize that what it is that is affecting them and take those precautions that is necessary. I'm not going to go into what should be done to handle the tough times. You all know it. The only thing that you need to do is not get complacent and not, give up your sense of safety that you need to do by taking care of your health and preventing and breaking the chain of the COVID that is going around. So that way, this is a specific tough time which comes. So these kind of tough times come like, without any warning. It could be a tsunami, it could be an earthquake that comes and hits people, and it could be the pandemic that happened in 1914 and 1918. That's the when you had the plague and all these the swine flu. So these are all events that is global, and they are tough times for almost everyone. So now let's go into how do we have to fight handling tough times. Okay, you have to fight through the tough times, and these could be appearing as bad days for you, but they are going to earn you the best days of your life once you wait through the tough times, right? Irrespective of any kind of tough time. So I'm going to give you some of the tips on how to handle that, right? And this is purely based on my experience. And I would like to tell you that the first thing that you need to do when you are going through a tough time, and the first awareness of a tough time comes to you, it is accept feeling lousy, accept feeling angry, accept the feeling that you are feeling bad about it. You could be upset, you could be angry, you could want to cry, whatever it is, just accept that. There are two things which comes out when you do that. Firstly, you are accepting the reality that there is a tough time. You're not brushing things under the carpet. You're not masking it. You're not faking it. The second thing is that moment you accept that feeling, what it is, you are actually mentally tuning yourself to be in a position. You're creating a mindset to be in a position to handle the tough situation that you are in, or the tough relationship that you are in, right? And then we come to the identification of what bothers you. Write it down. Now, to write it down, some of you are very good. Some of us are very comfortable writing down on a piece of paper and pen in this high-tech world. But some of you may be okay to even write in the notes of your mobile, or it's also possible that you're comfortable writing it down on your tab, on your laptop, on your desktop, wherever it is. But whatever bothers you, you must write it down. Okay, so that's very important. And when you write down, you put every thought that comes to your mind, however negative it is, just write it down. Even the smallest iota of negative thought or a negative situation or a negative aspect of that relationship, put everything down. Okay, then having done that, then you also, it comes with, there are positive thoughts that needs to come. There are things like, for instance, if you have met with an accident, you've broken your bones, and you're certainly going through a tough time, but the positive about is that you're alive, and it's not hurt, and it's not, you're able to support yourself, at least on the situation. You got a good care, or maybe you are in a somebody's there to take care of you. Those things are the positive thoughts which is accompanied during this tough time that you must note down. Today, for instance, let's take the pandemic. In the pandemic today, you've been able to get much closer to your family, which you had not been otherwise, right? You've been able to stay home, you've been able to get together, you've been able to participate in the way that you run your home. These are positives. You've been able to reduce the expenditure, unnecessary. Now you know what of unnecessary expenditures that you are going through had this pandemic not come through. So these are the positives that are there. So please note down all of that. Make a huge list of it. Thereafter, you need to make two buckets, right? Why you do that is the negative and the positive, and you'll find probably the bucket of negative is much more than the positive. Then you prioritize. List out which is the one that hurts you most, what is the one that creates you maximum pain. List it out, use a rubber or a pencil, and then keep changing it if you want to realign it. But get down to the task of all that you've listed out, give it from number 1 to whatever it is, number 10, 15, whatever that you've listed. And Same thing you do with the positive thoughts too. So you write down all that is more positive that you can help thinking or working out to solve this. Those are the first of your positive thoughts that should come, or to handle this the tough time that you're going through. Write all this down and then take the first, second, and third. These are the three important aspects of the negative and the positives, right? Now you know what to take care of. So you take these three and look for an action plan that you need to do. Think now in terms of solution. You need to change your mental gears now. Now that you've listed out, you're a lot better to handle it after your tough times have not reduced. But your mindset, you're mentally now tuned to handle it better. So shift your mental gears from a problem, right, to a solution. Think in terms of solution now. No more problems. For example, if there is a problem of where in your team there are two team members who are, up against one another, and it's creating a lot of toxicity in the team. So you want to go and discuss this with your boss. Don't go to the boss and say, I have a problem with these two guys. I do not know what to do. No, you have to think on a solution. Take two, three solutions. If you do not know which solution you want to decide, but you need your boss's support, because that is something which is very essential when you work in a team. So you will go to the boss and tell him, hey, I have this problem with these two guys, but I have these two solutions also along with it. So I just want to discuss the solutions with you so that we can decide on the best course of action. So you say, okay, fine. So we need to give them two separate tasks, put them into different teams, or you could discuss them and tell them that, yes, this person needs to be counseled on this aspect of the job or this aspect of the behavior. Do that to them, and then make this list out what action you want to do. And if things don't go out of hand, what disciplinary action you want to take against them. Discuss this with both, and I'm sure this is no more look like a tough situation for you, because you are already thinking in terms, and your boss is happy that you come with a solution. Okay, these are things that are very helpful. I'm just giving you one small example how to think in terms of solution. Let us take if you're a student. Okay, so you have a problem today that you don't have a job. Okay, you finished with your graduation. Okay, so now you look, okay, where can I look for a virtual job? I need to do a virtual internship. I need to do virtual interviews. So how do I prepare for that? What all aspects do I need to look to be very presentable, to make that edge over the others while doing the interviews? Where all should I look for? Can I use the LinkedIn? Can I use the paid version of some of these sites so that it gives me better visibility? And then how do I increase that? Who are the persons in the industry whom I can need to reach out to, so that if there is an opportunity that I can seize? Think of that. Or is there some way that I need to now look at something myself? Should I put in my entrepreneur cap and start doing something till the time I get a decent job? Can I do small things? If I'm very good at singing, or I could perhaps hold online singing classes for my neighborhood, earn some money from that way. Do something. Think in terms of solution, right? So that's what I meant by. And so what you're doing is that you're having identified the problem, you're now giving it more power and energy to the solution. And that is how you're able to reduce the intensity of the tough times. Another thing which you should do when you're going through tough time is to seek help. It's nothing wrong in it. A lot of people think that it's against the ego to go and ask somebody for help. Sorry, I mean, you are making a big mistake if you do that, right? You are actually intensifying your tough times by thinking that way, right? Positive thinkers don't do that. They will go and seek help from someone who is a subject matter expert on an issue which you are facing in your job. Somebody you're not able to understand how to figure out a solution, go to somebody who's done this before, or someone ask them for a conversation with you, how to help you do that. Take hints. Maybe one of them may not be able to open up to you. Okay, go to somebody else. Don't stop it at that, right? Keep knocking all the doors that you can think of. Remember you started out all your list of positives. So if you're a person who can go and talk and get these things, do that. If you're a person who are a little introverted, not able to do that, go reach out through the internet, right? This is a place where you get a lot of solutions to most of your problems. Internet has got fantastic amount. All you need to do, put the right words for you to get your search, and then discuss with people, to maybe a combination of the Internet of Things and the people and the human beings that you interact with will give you solutions. some of the solutions which they give you will be far ahead of what you ever thought of. You may not even thought of those kind of solutions. So that's where the seeking help is very important step for handling tough times, right? Yeah, this is something which is more individual. You have to rely on your belief system. This is basically to help you develop the right frame of mind. Prayer is a major way of people. It helps them ease the toughness that they're going through. Right? It could be any kind of. It could be a conversational prayer to whatever faith that you believe in. It could be a prayer within yourself. It could be just taking a time off to yourself and keeping to you and trying to figure out a solution, how to push the negativity off from your life. How do you handle that? So you're doing that as a prayer. Go ahead and do that if it helps you. If a lot of people find prayer a very meaningful way of handling tough times, lean on it. Take help of that, right? Then, of course, a lot of us have our own faith that we believe in, and all the religious texts in the world. If somebody goes through all of them, you will find there is a common thread in how to deal with life. Every book touches on it. The context or the stories or the way that they express it would be different, but the common element, how to deal with life, is there. It's basically to take care of yourself, love the situations that you are, or the power of love is very, very important here, because it eases the mind, it removes negativity. The second thing that it happens is that it will also tell you that you need to concentrate on the present. The present is actually empowering you to deal with the situation much better. If you lean too much on the past, or you're only daydreaming and just not doing anything about it, they can seriously intensify or increase your tough life. You just sit in self-pity and say, "Well, I don't know what has happened to me. Why is it only happening to me?" Those kind of thoughts are not going to work. Every religious text will give you solutions to that, right? So whichever religion that you belong to, make use of that. Then, of course, there are some people who find a lot of solace connecting with their religious gurus, I might say. Padri, it could be a padri, it could be a priest, it could be a granthi, anybody. Okay, it could also be mentors for, in your work style, in a work job. It could be somebody who is a very good mentor. Okay, go to them and seek help from them. Have a conversation with them, and they could help you lighten the load of the tough times that you're feeling with. Meditation, incidentally, is a super way of doing it, just by yourself. That's why a lot of people say, if you have a 15, 30, 1 hour me time, depending on how busy you are, if you have that me time meditating, you're calming a lot of your body mind connect. The mind and body connect is taken care of when you do meditation. It calms you down, it helps you focus better, it increases your concentration, it increases your memory power. You have to just do it to believe it. Now, meditation is not aligned to any particular religion, right? It has started with the many centuries back, and then it has flown and grown into so many nations and so many cultures that there are various forms it has taken as meditation. Whatever works for you, go ahead and do it, right? For whatever duration that you want to do. Then, of course, reading self-help books helps a lot. A lot of people do believe in reading self-help, and then it helps them out. The only problem with people who read with self-help books is that they just read the book, feel good about it, and just dump it. They don't work that solutions which those self-help books has given out. It's very important to apply that in your life, right? And you apply it more frequently, it gets more and more ingrained. So go ahead and read books if that could help you. Fine. And last, this is believe in yourself. This is my favorite, and this is my favorite way of handling tough times. I believe in myself. That's my best. None of the above five actually works for me much more than believing in myself, right? So I've been through very tough times, both in the armed forces as well as in the corporate, and it's only in my own belief, that's why the DU is in red. This is the one which has given me a major strength in handling and overcoming tough times. Okay. Now you have to, after all of this, you need to move on. Don't think that tough times will last. Tough times do not last. Make your lessons learned. Some people are fond of writing a journal. It's a very good practice. whatever the tough time that you've been through, make your lessons learned. Perhaps not only just to, in case it comes again, because tough times do come back again. If it comes again, you know how to handle it better. Secondly, you are in a position to share this lessons learned with people who may not have experienced it and who you are helping them. They will be grateful to you for you having been able to guide them in times of their tough times, right? And of course, this picture is showing you a rear view mirror of a car, perhaps, right? And it shows the road behind, which is very essential when you drive. You need this rear view mirror to see what's coming from behind. Or when you want to overtake, you have to make sure that you're safe. Let this rear view mirror be in the vehicle. Don't use this rear view mirror in your life. Your life, you should not look at your past beyond just the lessons learned. Some people use the past, they value so much the past that it almost drives the present, and everything that they see today, it's actually a reference of the past. Some people has hurt them in some particular way. If a boss has hurt them in a particular way, they feel every boss is like that. Or if some a friend if they make and then it's broken because of some reason, they feel every other friend that they're going to make will come out with the same reason. I mean, that's a templating from the past is a very serious way of increasing your tough times as of today. Okay, for heaven's sake, don't do it. Leave it. And for the future, it's okay to dream. It's okay to make a plan and then work on that plan. But when working on the plan, plan that work which is going to happen today. That is how that action happens in that plan. Otherwise, you are just only planning. There's no action happening. So you're going to be disappointed in any case, and you're going to prolong your tough times of if you want to graduate, you're not able to graduate because you kept postponing the study that you need to have done today. You kept postponing the assignments that you should have done today, right? We find a lot of people taking online courses and things and they're not able to finish it. They're not able to finish it because they're thinking, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll plan it day after tomorrow when there's a weekend coming and I'll do it. That they're not thinking of today. Today, if you just do maybe half an hour, you would have actually bitten off of much of the huge task that is in front of you. So this is very important that you know. Finally, there will be situations, this is predominantly with relationship that I'm talking about, you need to forgive and let go. People would have hurt you. Nobody, no religious book in the world ever says that life has to be fair, 100%. Sorry. There will be times when life will be unfair to you. Just go ahead and accept it. Okay, you can't be holding flags for everything that is going wrong. You're making life tough for yourself if you go and do that. Right? There are certain times when you need to stand up and stand up straight and hard, which is fine. But there are times when you should know when to let go. So forgive and let go, right? And forget and move on. Now, on the question of forget, a lot of people are of the opinion, yes, I will forgive and I will let go, but forget, certainly not. Fine. It's okay if you don't want to forget, but then don't let that not forgetting be an issue for you whenever you're moving on. Let it not spoil your sleep. If you're able to take care of that, then it's okay not to forget what has happened. But if you're willing to forgive and let go, just go and do it. But if you do all the three, you're far better off, right? And just move on. Just remember, no tough life, no tough time is permanent. This also will pass. This is very important. This also will pass. Okay? So having seen that, now we'll just go through quickly through what is the roadmap that we have to overcome the tough times. So we just recapitulate what we did. So we have firstly accepted that feeling lousy is very important. It helps us to uh, face reality and thereafter, create the frame of mind. And then we list out what bothers us, the positives, the negatives, and we prioritize them. And then we started thinking in terms of what should be the solution that we need to handle the current tough times. And then we went and sought help, okay, from some of the, it could be either the reference material that you would have had, maybe books, maybe the internet, or even people are speaking to subject matter experts. And then, of course, you rely on your belief system only to reinforce the solutions that you're looking at, to reinforce the right frame of mind that you want, that you're using the belief system. So we had discussed 5, 6 of them. It could be prayer, it could be religion, it could be your gurus or the priests or the padres, it could be books, it could be meditation, and finally, it could be just believing in yourself. So rely on that belief system and just move on. Don't let this be block you from continuing with your life, right? Just put it aside and carry on. Fine. So tough times never last, but tough people do. Robert H. Schuller said that, and it is more than 100% true today, right? Okay, so now I've said that I will reach out to me. I hope you enjoyed this small session that I have made for you. It's purely it's not a cut paste from internet from anywhere. It's just a purely 3 decades of relationships that I've had with people, situations that I've gone through. And so I have shared with you. So should you feel that this is my name, should you feel that you need to reach out to me and you want to share some thoughts among this after going through this, please reach out to me. This is my Gmail address, prihanj@gmail.com. P for Papa, R for Romeo, E for Eco, H for Hostel, A for Apple, N for November, J for Juliet, A for Apple, and Y for Yankee @gmail.com. Okay, prihanj.com. And I have just created a YouTube channel where I'll go and upload this video. I intend planning to add some more videos as I go through. They've already created a video for my one of the groups that I have. It's called sharpening the interview skills, and one is winning at interviews. This is something which I did for people who are finding it difficult to transit from the current job to another one, so they need to hone their interview skills. So I have discussed in that, so I'll be planning to put that up too. And similarly, there are so many life hacks that I'm thinking of where I can share all the experience that I've had and to help people, and that's my way of giving back to the society. Okay, so with gratitude for many of you who have tuned in and who've seen this video, I'm grateful to you for taking time off, and I hope it'll be of some help to you